I got to be honest, I like the vibe of the YMCA being outside for the podcast recording. This is kind of nice, Steve.
It's come together so nice. We've got the artificial turf.
Yeah. That's not real grass?
We've got, no, it looks like it. But we've got dogs, which makes them feel a little more comfortable, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So we got dogs, we got YMCA, we've got hockey.
Are we supposed to work out while we're doing this podcast today, or can we just kind of sit and chill?
I think we're going to chill.
Okay.
Especially you should. You've been how many? You working out almost every day here?
Every
right?
day. Yeah.
Okay,
not today, but I am trying to work out every single day. And if you remember, my commitment to myself is 15 minutes a day. So if I just move every day for 15 minutes, I fulfill my goals.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes more.
Okay.
Sometimes it's 14 minutes.
Yeah, I think you could do a little bit more,
well,
but that's
we'll
okay.
See. We're going to have Scott Monroe on the podcast in just a little bit. If youth hockey is something that you think you want to do with your kids, he's going to help you understand that value. And then we're going to turn to the board of directors from the YMCA and your friend Tom Thomas, who, by the way, there is nothing about this guy online. He is in the CIA. He's in the FBI.
He's a baseball scout. They don't want...
He's a baseball scout?
Yeah, professional baseball scout.
For who?
We'll talk about this.
Okay.
We're going to bring that up after.
Okay.
But they want him incognito. They don't want him out there. So.
That's interesting.
Yeah, keep him down low.
We have a little professional hockey over here on our right. We've got some professional baseball.
Yeah.
And now we've got some professional, why don't you adopt my pets?
Exactly.
Hi, I'm Amy Richardson, owner-agent at the Savvy Realty Group. How long will your Ahwatukee home be on the market? In a hot market, and I don't mean the heat of our summers, where there is limited inventory, meaning there are more buyers than homes to purchase, you can actually expect your home to sell in just a few days. Although, I highly recommend for allowing the home to have the proper marketing time so you can get the most amount of offers with the very best terms.
Hello, I'm Laura Hertzler, head of school here at Keystone Montessori, nestled in the Ahwatukee Foothills. We are celebrating over 25 years of serving the community with authentic Montessori education. Our community at Keystone is home to 12 classrooms serving children from 15 months to 15 years old. We take great pride in each of our Montessori environments that support our students at each stage of their development. Please call us today for more information. We would be happy to welcome you to the Keystone family.
Shelly Albetta, a Jersey girl, joins us on our podcast. How are you?
I'm excellent. How are you guys?
Love the dogs. The hat, it says
Thank you.
lift heavy pet dogs.
You like that? Sums up my
I love it.
my existence.
Is that right?
It is.
Well, you look like you're kind of like in the fitness space with your friend over here, right?
For
like
years.
you guys are turning it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you do? What's your big modality?
My
are you
big
45 too?
My big modality for working out or life?
Yeah, working out.
Working out right now, I'm just back in the gym. Weights, cardio.
Okay.
Sauna.
Is that all Sunny
consistent.
approved?
Sunny,
It is? Okay.
yeah, at 45, I like to mix it up. So I'll do group and then I go back to traditional. It's really just mood and keep the body guessing. Because,
Yes.
once you hit 40, you better keep it guessing.
Yeah, you have to keep it guessing.
Yeah, and we're gonna. Speaking of 40, Shelly has a podcast about dating over 40, and we're gonna.
She does?
Yes, and we're gonna have her. She's gonna be one that's gonna come around the back early next year, and we're gonna talk to her about that.
We got to bring both of, is it you and somebody else you said?
Yes.
So we'll have to bring you and somebody else on. And the idea behind the podcast is we help Steve find somebody to spend some time with.
Right.
I think we have the tips and tricks, I think, that could do that.
Well,
Really?
because again, we were just talking. We're here with Alone No More Dog Rescue. That's what I want. I'm going to say on my shirt when they find my new
Your
mate.
mate.
Alone No
my
More.
New mate, Alone No More.
I hope so.
I'm so happy.
Well, we have dogs in the house today.
We
and,
do have two dogs in the house today.
Everybody always loves dogs, and so we'll bring them on the set here in just a second. But talk to us a little bit about Alone No More and how this all started for you and why you do this work.
For sure. So I'm here on behalf of Jennifer Bryan. She's our president, but I am on the board of directors for the rescue. So dog rescue's just been a huge part of my life, probably the last 10 years. And then I got heavily invested in it, I'd say in the last 4 to 5. Alone No More Dog Rescue that I'm on the board of directors for, and these amazing dogs and people here supporting are a part of, is 100% volunteer-based, donation-based, or like nonprofit. And
Yeah.
what we specialize in is saving dogs and rescuing them from pretty much the brink of euthanasia. So I'd say majority of the dogs that we're saving are E-listed, meaning they're on the euthanasia list at Maricopa County or Pinal County, whether they're stressed out, whether there's medical reasons. We pull those dogs and then rehabilitate them at our facility, spend time with them, work with them. A lot of them are amazing dogs. They're just stressed out in that environment, and then we adopt them out.
Yeah. It's beautiful. They're known for, and I was going to talk about, not to bring a pun, but the underdog. A lot of their dogs are what some people call unadoptable. They think that. So some of my questions, I want to hear some inspirational stories about some of those dogs that were deemed.
She brought one. I think she
I think we brought
a
one.
dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, but these are not. These dogs are adoptable. But I want to hear a story about when an unadoptable
Gets adopted.
That gets adopted. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I mean, there's so many dogs that come to mind, but I mean, I can think of Bingo. There was a dog, he was e-listed. He was a puppy, so they're under socialized dogs. So in that case, they're scared of people, they're scared of humans, they shut down. Adopting them from the rescue direct, no one would want to take that on because the dog's basically not feral, but just super insecure and needs a lot of work. So pulling some of those dogs, I mean, we've watched them go from hiding in the back of their kennel to where we finally can get them into the play yard, to where we're finally walking them and watching them build their confidence over time is probably the most amazing thing ever. And the dogs that are fear dogs end up being the best pets. It's just they have to learn to trust. They have to learn almost how to be a dog. As weird as that sounds, you know. So a lot of them are fear pups.
It's much different from kids.
Yeah.
Like, and you know, kids in the foster system, like they have to warm up and they have to get acclimated to their environment, and they take some time. Like, and dogs
are the same way.
Yeah, and a lot of them do not have the best backstories.
That's
to them
it.
too. And so
they've been abused, or they've been neglected, or they've, you know, something has happened to them, and now they find themselves in a really tough place. Yeah, interesting. So Bingo finds a home.
Yes, he's living his best life right now.
And
with other dogs, loves his people, super playful, super out there. Like, just to see the transformations that occur with these animals is phenomenal.
I love it.
And a lot of it is attested to the dedication that our team puts in with the dogs every day. They get to know us, we're patient, and then we show them love, we show them consistency and things that they're not used to getting. So I mean, I'm biased, but we're one of the best rescues out there for that, for sure.
Hell yeah, you are.
We are.
Hell yeah, they are.
Just saying.
And I know that they work with a couple of the top, the Maricopa and Pinal County shelters as well. You
Correct.
guys
Those are our
relationship with
top
them?
two partners. So we're a New Hope partner with Maricopa, meaning once dogs get deemed unadoptable to the public, they go New Hope, which means only rescue partners can pull those dogs.
Okay.
So majority of the dogs that we are pulling from Maricopa are New Hope only, meaning if a rescue's not saving them, they're getting euthanized.
Who did you bring with you today, and who do we get to meet first?
Okay, we brought, I feel like Mama we're going to meet first. So
Okay.
Mama was actually my first foster dog, and I just kind of want to tell her story and her amazing adopter, Sandy.
For those of you that are watching on YouTube, this is Max. He's over there with the camera, and he's going to be showing this pup while we talk about it. And so what is the name of the dog again?
Mama.
Mama.
So to give a quick backstory on her, last summer we got a call that there was a dog and her puppy running around the streets of Phoenix for months. And so Mama and her puppy were on the streets. Someone finally took them in, but she was living outside in the middle of summer. And at this point, it was the day before 4th of July. It was 116 degrees out. And we're like, we can't leave this dog. We can't leave them outside, you know?
I mean, look at how happy she is.
She's the best. So anyway, I come to the rescue, and I didn't have room for her, but I took her and her puppy in. Oh my God, she's a ham.
She is like soaking it in right now. She is playing it up for the cameras. Look at her. This is a little show dog over there.
Yep, so she came off the streets. She came in my house. I had her for 8 months, and until amazing Sandy found us on social media, and I knew right when they met it would be the perfect fit. She was like my dog. Like, she still is my dog, and I have a great relationship with both of them still. But it just shows, like, from the streets of Phoenix to, like, living her best life, this is why we do what we do.
Yeah, that's so good. And
love
that's
that.
Love you, Mama.
That's Mama's
That's Sandy.
forever
That's her
home.
forever home. That's her Mama, and Sandy is amazing. She literally loves her the way I loved her. I couldn't have been happier for that situation.
All right,
And
now
then
the other
who's-
dog
and
is
who's
getting the other
this?
dog's getting
Oh,
jealous now. He's
Okay,
like,
this is Janie.
Ooh, wow.
Okay, so
what?
yes.
Are you kidding me? I thought she didn't like guys. Max.
So
She's
Janie
licking
is-
him like he is a
That's-
popsicle right now.
Janie
Yes.
is the sweetest,
Oh my God.
adoptable. So she came. She was an E-lister.
Even Matthew, even when you walked up to that
She was a little timid.
timid, I mean,
Yes,
look at
Max.
Max. Hi, Max. This is gonna be.
Yeah.
You should. Really?
Apparently.
The parents one. He's using the parents.
Look
too.
at Paul on his shoulder. So anyway, Janie was an example of an E-listed dog. See, she's a little fearful. She's still learning how to be a dog, but she's dog friendly. She is ready to find her forever home. She's amazing with people. She's a little timid, but she's starting to come out of her shell thanks to amazing Claire, who is her foster mama, who also volunteers with us also. But Janie is looking for her forever home. So
What is the adoption process like if people want to go through Alone No More?
So pretty much when you want to adopt one of our dogs, you have to fill out our application online. And then we have a pretty serious vetting process. The reason for this is we don't want our dogs coming back, right? Like these kids are ours forever. We take any dog back. So it's super important that we are matching. We play matchmaker and we want to set everyone up for success. We're not just unloading our dogs. So then we call and then we see like what's important to them, what's happening in your home. There's an extensive, I'd say, vetting process before you come meet the dog. And then if we agree to that, there's a meeting. And then after that, if they still want to move forward, we bring the dog to the home to make sure the home is secure. If there's another dog in the home.
Oh, so you do a home visit?
Every single time.
Yeah, you have to.
So, I mean, we stay in touch with everyone. So we're pretty savage, but it ensures that we're only adopting out to the best people and that our dogs are going to the right places.
Good.
Yeah.
Like, because of what you just said, like the last thing you want is for this dog to go and find a new home, be there for 30 days, find another home, be there for 30 days. That's a vicious cycle.
And unfortunately, it still happens regardless of
does.
how much we do. I mean, we've had dogs come back after 2 years.
What?
Because people were moving. I mean, the thing is, we'd rather them be with us than the alternative, right?
Sure.
But there's still situations and scenarios that we can control. We just do our best to minimize any of that from happening.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
What are the greatest needs of Alone No More right now? I was on your website poking around today, and I noticed that there's a pretty easy way for people to donate food and some of those things. But what do you need? What's like the biggest needs of the organization right now?
I mean, we're in the process right now of building our own facility. So right now we house our dogs at Heidi's Village in Phoenix. It's a glorified boarding facility. It's beautiful, but it's expensive, right? So we are in the process of building our own facility where we are going to have full control over our dogs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on our property. We own the property. That's very expensive. Mm-hmm. So we've had amazing angel donors that have donated thus far, but ultimately we are still probably $100,000 away from getting the property complete. So donations are our biggest need right now. This facility will allow us to have complete control over our animals and run it exactly how we want. And we're just so excited about it. But being 100% donation-based organization, unless money's coming in, we can't do what we do. So I'd say money.
So you do. So you have the facility already picked out. You have the.
We have it. We own it.
Oh, you own it.
Our founder
great.
lives on it.
Okay.
There's already kennels set up there. We're halfway through. We do have 6 dogs out there. We're setting it up to have 19 dogs out there with isolation kennels as well. So it really will be a one place where we house all of our dogs under full control of us. So. It's been a process, and we are carrying on till it gets done. It's just without funds to help us get there. It's difficult. We get stalled.
So
we're grinding on all cylinders and then we stall. You know what I mean? And then we get more money and then we stall. So we're doing it. We want to do it right. We want to make sure our dogs are taken care of there, and it's exactly how we want it, and it's just expensive. So
I wonder if there's a point of differentiation between Alone No More and others. Like, what would you say is your special sauce that separates your shelter from others?
I'd say our people.
Yeah.
I think 100% our team is phenomenal. Like from Claire, Sunny, even our past adopter, Sandy. I mean, the people that work for, we all do this out of we're not getting paid to do any of this, right?
Right.
Everyone involved is fully invested in these dogs and our process and making sure that they are finding the best homes. And I think our people by far set us apart from 99% of the other rescues.
Okay, and before we go, I can't help but bring in the Jersey a little bit. Jersey, I mean, do you know a little bit about Jersey? Jersey is known for its bagels,
Pizza,
the Jersey Shore,
yes.
the movie. But really, it's a pretty tough area, and if people live there, there's some tough hombres too. So there are. I want to talk about some of the tough dogs. Tell me about one of the dogs that you've worked with that reminded you of a Jersey girl. This is a
or
toughie.
a Jersey guy.
A Jersey
Come on,
guy.
we got to be fair here.
Okay, Jersey.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, listen, we have some sassy. See, they're laughing over there because every week we go down, so they're all volunteers, and we have 16 dogs down at boarding right now, and there's some sassy kids down there.
Okay.
Meaning, they're stubborn. defiant. They want to be the boss. I mean, there's not just one I can name.
Okay,
I'm
so
just
there's
saying
so Jersey guys. So she's got some
they're
Jersey,
like Jersey
guys.
Yeah, where you're like, you got to tell them who's boss.
There
There's
you
no
go.
effing around.
Yes.
We are in control.
I love that.
And if not, you're going to go back to you're going to go back until you learn who's in charge.
I
feel like this is my
like
dating. This is my dating life. This is probably where my problems go. This is probably why I have problems when I'm single. Put them in their corner until they come back out and realize how I'm boss.
She shut me right down. Jersey girl, it's Jersey
Oh
guy.
my
I was like,
God,
whoa.
Yeah, because Jersey girls are fine. It's
I
the
know.
Jersey boys that suck.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean,
That's what I said.
Yeah.
good answer.
Yeah.
But anyways, I love that. I knew you'd have some toughies down there.
Yeah, we
that
do.
remind you of the tough Jersey neighborhoods.
Growing up that way gives her the edge she needs to be in this space.
Yeah, that's
Amen.
Right?
We don't lose it.
Yeah.
It
Don't
never
lose
leaves.
it.
Jersey, the girl can leave Jersey, but Jersey never
Right.
leaves the girl.
She hangs around the Sopranos neighborhood. Just ask her.
You're right.
That's your thing, huh?
It is my thing.
Uh-huh. Are you
There's no-
connected?
I
If I
mean,
need
I
somebody
can't.
killed, can you help
Hey,
me?
I cannot disclose that.
Matthew,
I cannot
this is
disclose
some-
that
I
on
don't
this
need
podcast.
anybody killed. I was just sort of wondering
I mean,
in
we're
general,
gonna
like, if
get
that would be
we're
a
gonna
thing.
get flagged.
You think so?
Yes.
YouTube is like
Yes.
an assassination attempt going down. No, that's not what I'm just talking about. Are you connected?
I cannot answer that on
Okay,
this podcast.
fair enough. I like it.
I'm in waste management.
We've got these beautiful dogs that are up for, they need to be adopted. They need to
Yes.
find their forever home right now. And you need, typically speaking, what is the best kind of family to foster a dog? I would think like you wouldn't want to get into a family where they're in the middle of raising little kids because maybe they don't have the attention for it. I don't know. You tell me. Is there a typical family that makes a lot of sense to be someone who provides a home?
I think, again, it goes based on each dog, right? We have some great dog-friendly, kid-friendly dogs. We have others that need to be a one and only dog and don't do good with kids. So it's really dependent case by case.
Okay. What
Like
about-
Claire is amazing. She has 3 dogs at home, plus Janie. She adopted one of our dogs. She has a roommate that comes here and there, but it's just her in the home. So they're like in a safe, they do well with other dogs, but like there's not a lot of like, I don't think Janie would maybe necessarily do great with kids right now where she's at, you know?
Right.
So it's really, when we have fosters that want to step up, we pair them with a dog that we think would work.
And how many are up for adoption right now?
We have 50 dogs right now.
Okay. So there's got to be
50
somebody
dogs,
for
yes.
somebody.
We have a lot.
Okay.
But we move them and we do a really good job at adopting out our dogs. A lot of rescues get stagnant. We have a good flow.
All right. I can't wait to get Shelly back on the podcast next year. Get Steve with some good dating
Yes.
information.
Thank you.
Let's get this guy plugged in.
She's laughing at me.
Let's
now.
get him alone no more.
She's like,
Let's get him alone no more.
She's
Yeah.
like, no, he's alone.
He's alone. No more. Look, Steve, I got you.
Okay, you got me.
She's
After
gonna
the
take
new
care
year.
of you.
Okay,
I'll
Isn't
take
that
care of
nice?
you.
Don't you feel
Okay.
comforted by
I
that?
do. I do.
Shelly, thank you so much for
Thank
coming.
you guys for
by.
having
Thank
me.
you.
Oh,
Thank
my
you for
God.
doing what you do. It's
What a treat.
Yeah.
How do people find you online?
We're on Instagram, Facebook, our website, anmdogrescue.org. All of our dogs are listed up there. Alone No More is our IG handle, and Alone No More Dog Rescues are our Facebook. And
right.
we constantly I run our social media also, but we are posting our dogs constantly. So
Awesome.
go check them out and adopt, don't shop.
Yes, we
Awesome.
will put a link in our show notes.
Yes.
We're going to take a quick break, Steve, and when we
Yes.
come back, we're going to talk a little hockey, a little youth hockey.
Excited to hear that.
Yeah, man. Scott Monroe joins us next. Hang tight.
What makes Bella Set lingerie so unique? For starters, check out the vast selection and size range. Cups from A to K in styles like balcony, plunge, wireless, strapless, and more, including mastectomy and maternity bras. With superior customer service and free professional fittings, it's the go-to bra shop in the East Valley. Locally owned, with 2 locations in Ahwatukee and Gilbert. Check out our glowing reviews on Google and Yelp. Visit bellasetlingerie.com to learn more.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Hopefully those dogs are already adopted by now, Steve.
I'm sure they are.
If they're not, our next guest might just take a 4th
Yeah, he said he's got 3.
Correct.
already.
Yeah.
Does he have room for a 4th? We shall
we
find out.
absolutely do.
You
Yeah,
think so?
my wife gave me strict orders: bring home a dog.
She did. She
oh
said
yeah.
that.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. I think that whole idea of the farm with the 19 dog kennels, like
That's
I'm
in
on
the
board.
future?
I'm on board.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
my retirement plan.
The voice you're hearing is Scott Monroe, and I met Scott a number of years ago at the then, was it Polar Ice when you got
No,
there?
Ice Den.
It was Ice Den.
Yep.
Okay, so when I moved to the Valley in 2010, it was Polar Ice in Chandler, and Mindy French was overseeing all of the kids. And then Gary Illing, who's now up at Pinnacle and working with the Junior Coyotes program, was stepped in. And then they made the greatest move ever, and they brought this guy in. And Scott's just
You're
been,
too kind.
I think, listen, I don't take anything away from Mindy and Gary because they're incredible human beings. But, man, what you've been able to do at the Ice Den, you've been able to do this thing that I think it needed, which is you make it feel a little bit more like the neighborhood hockey program that it should be.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah,
that means a lot. Thank
you have a way about you, your demeanor, the way you handle people, the way you approach everything. It lends itself to, hey, man, we're your neighborhood rink, and come be a part of what we're doing here.
And I'm glad we're talking about that because Scott and I were having a conversation before the show.
Are you trying to get drafted?
No. That's way past my time. But there are probably some future draftees right in this neighborhood. The rink is right down the street. We're here, Ahwatukee, Foothills, and this was and still is a big feeder to the program. And we're hoping that more people, because tons of people are always moving in here, especially after the first of the year, that they find their way to the rink down the street and find Scott, because this is real. Actually, that's the neighborhood rink. I mean, that is
a neighborhood rink.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to talk about all the programs and all that stuff in just a couple of minutes. First, I'd like to get your story, Scott, because I mean, you have a cool hockey background.
Yeah.
You were just telling me you grew up in Moose Jaw, Canada, and you were a goalie.
Correct.
You had a chance to light the lamp at the Bigs.
Yeah, I did.
I heard you met a guy that named Mario Lemieux that a few folks have heard from.
I had a little cup of coffee with the Philadelphia Flyers. So, but I grew up in Moose Jaw, and I was just kind of sharing my story with you, Maddie, before we came on. But kind of the classic late bloomer, right? Like I wasn't ever drafted into the Western Hockey League, which is right kind of our neck of the woods. I ended up playing junior A hockey in a small little town called Wilcox, Saskatchewan, that has Notre Dame College, which is the Hounds, home of the Hounds. And on the wall there are NHLers down the hall.
Really?
Rod Brindamore, Curtis Joseph, the list goes on and on. Cujo. So my uncle went there years and years before that.
He was a Hound?
He was a Hound.
Got it.
Not so much as a hockey player, but loved hockey, but he went there for the school aspect. So I went there as an 18-year-old and kind of realized that the Western Hockey League was a little beyond me at the time. So this was my way to try to keep playing junior hockey and try to get a scholarship to the United States, which I was fortunate enough to do. The hockey hotbed of Alabama. I went to Huntsville, Alabama, the UAH Chargers. And then from there, after 4 full years there, I was lucky enough to sign a free agent contract with the Flyers. And that was an incredible feeling.
Talk about that experience.
Well, I mean, it's still it's a dream come true. Like I was kind of thinking about that as I was thinking about coming on and what we might talk about, and I was kind of thinking a little bit about that. Like you think about this all your whole childhood, playing street hockey. You're outside in the snow. Every birthday party was an excuse to get your buddies over for a street hockey game. That's what we grew up with. So everybody's picking their favorite player, and your Game 7 Stanley Cup final, and you hear these guys every time they win. They talk about that, right? I'm playing in the yard with my brother, and it's Game 7, and
3-3.
It's
2 minutes left.
Like they're doing the bump.
Yeah, it's a real thing, and so to actually like put on an NHL sweater with your name on the back, it's like, what? This is incredible. And so it was truthfully a dream come true, and it's hard to accomplish your like dream and have your dream job and then it be done like in your 30s, and you're like, well, now what the heck do I do?
Okay.
So I coach youth hockey now.
Yeah. Found your way back to puck. Oh yeah,
that was just for me. I had to stay in the game somehow. It was all I knew. It was all I wanted to know. So once I retired from playing, I started coaching at the junior level in Canada, and then I came back to the U.S. at the NCAA level, Division III level, and then we got the opportunity to move out here as a family. And
yeah, because you have a wife and 2 kids.
One kid.
Yep.
Also
Jade?
a goalie.
Jade is the wife.
Jade and Jack.
And Jack.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he plays hockey too.
He does. He's a goalie.
Okay. Just like his dad.
Yep. And once we finish up here, we've got a game up in Peoria. I'm heading to.
What else does a hockey dad do?
Back to the rink. Back to the rink.
Now, I want to ask you a question. As a high-level athlete, it would be easy to maybe bring that expectation to everything that you do. Mm-hmm. But when we're working with kids, I think if there's anything that anybody with half a brain has figured out over the last few years, it's like they're not little 18-year-olds. They are, in fact, 7. They are, in fact, 10. Where they're at in their development and how we approach their development is different than it is for somebody who's, going to go try to sign a contract for the Philadelphia
Correct.
Flyers. So how has your experience at the highest level, do you think, helped you to be a better coach for younger people? Is it simply perspective?
Great question.
Yeah, that is a great question. We can really pull that thread a long way, but I think what I know, and I think what I try to impart on the young players in my program, is that I love this game. I do. I live and breathe it. And when I leave the rink and I get home, if there's a hockey game on, I'm turning it on.
Yeah.
And for anybody that wants to go far in this game, you really have to love it, because it gets real hard. It gets real hard, and there's so many roadblocks and adversity along the way that if you don't love what you do and love coming to the rink, it can break you. It can make you not want to come back.
Yeah, and I spent some time learning about some of your programs on the website, and I know a big one that you promote is stick time. Which I think we would call back in the day shinny or pond hockey,
Pickup game, or something. Yeah.
And then you also include some skills with that as well. Talk about that, because that to me, that's where you develop the love of the sport, right?
It is, yeah, and that's probably one of the more difficult things in markets like ours, where you can't, I would throw my skates over my shoulder and walk one block to the outdoor rink, and I'd, we had lights there. You'd play till. You either got too cold or
my entire childhood. With the skates over the back of the stick and my helmet in my hand. Yeah.
And that was our stick time, right? So we do, but the tough part is, truthfully, is the ice is so full with all of the programs we have, all the teams we have playing. It's getting more and more difficult to find time for those open times, those open stick times. So hopefully we can get some more of those coming back. But that is certainly that free time, that creative time with no stress, no pressure. And that's where you can get more creative and kind of learn some stuff.
Yeah, and a lot of that opens the door for a lot of kids getting into that and figuring their way to go to that next level to play on a travel program.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we do, and that's a lot what our Learn to Skate programs do. Right. What my initiation program does, what our pre-hockey programs do, is we try to get kids in the door, get them on the ice, get them comfortable on their skates, and then kind of move them along our ladder of progression, build their skills along the way. But again, like you said, the important thing is, and what I try to do is make sure that they enjoy their time, even if hockey's hard. It's a really hard game to learn. Skating itself is very difficult. And now the object we play with, we put at the end of a stick, and now you've got to control that while trying to skate. It's not very easy.
Right.
So I need to make sure, whether those kids fall 50 times or they're naturals and they pick it up, I want to make them smile. I want to make sure that they come back and they're excited maybe to come back to the rink, or maybe even it's just to come see me that day. And I find that really important, especially at those young levels, to make sure those kids are enjoying that time, that it's fun, that we joke around, that we always joke, we try to celebrate goals. If you score a goal, even my little IP class with no goalie in the net, hey, we're celebrating. Because you worked hard to get that puck in the net. Let's make sure we celebrate
have
that,
a little
right?
Fun,
sure. So get those kids smiling and make sure they want to come back again.
I mean, it's still my goal as a guy who runs a high school program. I want to see smiles, and I want you back next year. That's my measure of success. So winning a state title is a beautiful thing, and we've done that, and it's really great. But the goal is really, because at the end of the day, man, all roads lead to the pickup leagues at the end of the day.
To the beer league.
They really do.
Yeah.
And, I've been around the hockey scene since I was a little boy in Minneapolis, and this is actually a really great story that kind of I think summarizes the family of hockey. 25 years ago, I was in a pickup league in Kansas City, and I met a guy named Don. Don and I have not remained in contact at all over the last 20 years. Maybe socially we see each other on LinkedIn or something like that. About 2 weeks ago, he made a big transformation in his life, and he's ready to start a podcast, and he's been looking at all the stuff that I'm doing. He rings me up and he's like, hey, I see you're doing podcast coaching now. Would you be my podcast coach? Literally this morning we had our first call together, and I'm going to start working with this guy for the next year on his project. And it all started with the pickup hockey game.
Yeah.
It all started in beer league, man.
There's a lot of hockey connections. I'm here. My original partner here was we played travel hockey together. I'm Buffalo, Boston guy. So we moved out here together.
Interesting.
Yeah, he was my original partner. We knew each other from we were 10 years old.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And we started a business. So yeah, it's hockey, and we could talk here probably for an hour about like friends and people. We know so many mutual people. It's like
community.
it's like a family.
It is
It's
a
like
family.
community. It
It's
is.
tight-knit.
It's a tight knit community.
It is. Yeah.
And then speaking of that, like the tight knit community, we part of the family left town, and we all know that. And let's bring up a little bit of the heartbreak. The Coyotes leaving.
Yeah, what does that mean for
Yeah.
you? We had Lindsay on the show a couple of weeks ago.
What does
She
it
was
mean for
talking
youth
about it.
hockey?
How's it impacted you?
Personally, I'm sad.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, growing up in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, the closest teams to us were at the time the Winnipeg Jets, which became the Arizona Coyotes,
Right.
and then the Edmonton Oilers, Calgary Flames. And so I still have memories of going to the Edmonton Oiler playoff game against the Dallas Stars.
With Yari Curry and
No,
Wayne
this would have been
Gretzky?
Cujo. This
Okay,
would have
yeah,
been.
yeah.
This is kind of like I'm
Little
trying to
later now.
remember.
Who a little bit, Cujo played out here, and
Yep.
I coached his son, who
Oh,
played
nice.
at DYHA.
Yeah.
So I know Cujo pretty well. An amazing gentleman.
Yeah.
An amazing
and a
person.
Notre Dame Hound.
Yeah, yeah. And
You know, so
what a great player, too,
yeah.
competitor.
Oh,
I love
one of my favorites.
yes,
one of my
Cujo.
favorites. So watching
Yeah.
him in that playoff game, like I still remember that, and I remember them scoring with just like 1 second left to take it to overtime. The place went crazy, and I'm sitting with my dad about 7 rows up in the corner. But it was like an 8-hour drive. So it was like, that was like a one-off,
Once in a
right?
moon we're
I
doing
think
this.
maybe we were at 2 Oiler games my whole childhood. And now I get out here to Arizona, and when we moved out here, Jack was 7. And all of a sudden now we're going to 5 or 6 games a year.
Oh, all the time, yeah.
And it was so cool to be able to take my son to these NHL games.
Yeah.
And then even, as tough as it was to see them at Mullet Arena, what an incredible place to watch an NHL hockey
Oh,
game.
yeah.
It was about as intimate as it gets.
It was amazing, and to experience that, like that was kind of a special little thing. I think
Yeah.
that this community got to experience, to see an NHL game in that facility and to be so close to those players. Yeah. And we used to go and we were sitting like right behind the bench, and these guys would come off, and
it's
we
like-
were
it's like watching a
them.
pickup game.
It was
Literally,
amazing.
it's like watching-
it was
that's close
incredible.
up, yeah.
So when they left, I'm sad as a fan, but as we all were, so many coaches and families at the rinks are we all going to be okay? Like, is the program
Right,
folding?
yeah.
Are the rinks going to close? Is a question that I was asked.
Because they don't quite understand the connection between the team and the rinks.
No, and
Yeah.
they see the Coyote logo on the Ice Den facilities, and we have the logo, or we had the logo at Center Ice in our buildings, and so we just had to reassure people, no, we're okay. Like, we're in really good shape, quite honestly. Hockey in the Valley is alive and well. We've got kids playing. We've got adults playing. There is a market here. So whenever I would hear that from national media that the Coyotes don't belong in Arizona, it's like, yes, they do.
Yeah.
There's hockey fans in this city. It's just we didn't have the right team. We didn't have winning, and we didn't have...
We didn't have the right
We
ownership,
didn't
ownership
with the
was-
long-term
you know,
vision.
and it's a business. To me, it was business.
I've had the privilege to do a few camps in Vegas, some goalie camps out there, and I remember going out there the first time, and of
George
course,
McPhee.
well, the Knights go to the Stanley Cup
Yeah.
playoffs their
Oh.
very first year. So I'm asking these young goalies, who's your favorite goalie? Marc-Andre Fleury,
Of
Flower.
course.
Not one kid that I can recall here in Arizona had a Coyote player as their favorite player. And that was troublesome to me, because we
Right.
should be rooting for our team.
so
But I
right,
don't
man.
feel like our team really connected the
Well-
way that I see the Knights connect.
Well,
and you
S-
drive
well,
around
Scott,
Vegas, billboards
Scott,
everywhere.
they put the arena right in the middle of the town.
Correct.
And that was a big issue here. I mean,
Correct.
we could have a whole conversation about that.
Yeah.
They put out in Glendale, and you could you could say what you want. That's not really was the hockey center.
I sum it up
Right.
like this, Steve.
Yeah.
I always tell people, when you look at the youth hockey landscape, there's 7 ice rinks in the East
Yeah.
Valley,
Yeah.
and there's 1 on the west side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That should tell you where all the hockey
And
fans are.
probably
For
the
sure.
weaker and probably the least amount of players also in that one rink.
Yeah, it's tough to say. I mean, Ridge
I'm saying
and some of those places.
90% of the players are, to your point, are
on
on
the
the
East
side.
Valley.
So, even taking my son to a game out in Glendale on a Tuesday night, you're getting home at 11:30 and you got school the next day. It was difficult.
Yeah, the location, they say, I mean, what's the old saying? Location.
Yeah.
And Vegas hit a home run. That's why you're bringing up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like, I couldn't believe when I saw them. The rink is, it's right there.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah. Or win because
Yes.
the Florida Panthers facility isn't right downtown, and now they're filling it up because they're winning.
All you gotta do is-
right. So it's kind of one
Everybody
of the
wants to be part of a winner.
But when you can do both like Vegas and
Yes.
you're hitting a home run, and I'm sure that their youth hockey is going bananas
right now.
I'm sure it
Yeah.
is.
And they had none, by the way, when I was coaching not that long ago.
Vegas players would come here to Arizona.
Vegas players were playing for us. We had 2 Vegas players on our team Matthew, back then.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit more about what's available to people in our community.
Yeah,
I
for
mean, this
sure.
is a community-centric podcast. Our goal is to highlight people that are kicking ass in our community. You're one of them. The programs are available. What's a good age for a parent to start thinking about, like, hey, man, can we put skates on? I know the answer for me was as soon as they fit into size 12 skates, which is the smallest that they make. Or something like that,
not the adult 12, the youth 12.
The youth 12 was
yeah.
like the smallest, and was like, as soon as Gordy can fit in these things, he's going in them.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, again, too, for me, I have a picture of my son. My dad bought him a pair of skates, and he might have been 2, and he's got these skates on with a Canada jersey, and he's passed out in his bed with the skates on in the jersey, and you're like, okay, this is a good Canadian hockey picture. But yet, the sooner the better. Truthfully,
3-4 years old, totally fine.
Yeah, because we've got programs for all experience levels. So if you have never put on a pair of skates in your life, we can help you. Come on down to the ice stand. We've got Learn to Skate programs. Our Learn to Skate program is top ranked in the whole country year after year. They're phenomenal. So they do such a good job of getting those kids ready with their skating ability. By the time they get to me with the hockey programs, I can then get right into hockey because the skating base is there. So it makes my job a heck of a lot easier.
Yeah.
But they're phenomenal. So we can take you if you're brand new, if you have a little bit of experience, if you move to town and you need a place to play. We got everything. Adult league, youth, everything.
I want to talk about a barrier to hockey. For some, it's a cost
100%,
issue. But there's a lot of programs that make it really accessible. And then what I would also share with parents is it doesn't get really crazy expensive until they get into like adult gear.
The travel and the
travel. When you start needing adult skates, that's when your starting point is at $3, $4, $5, $6, $7, even up to $1,000 for a pair of skates now. Same thing with the sticks, right? When you're little, it's more like $50 to $100, and then when you get to be an adult, it's like starting at $389.
Yeah.
So talk about the cost from the perspective of somebody who just wants to learn and maybe wants to jump in as a mite, which is like the little 5 and 6 year olds on the ice.
Yeah.
What's their cost going to be in today's climate?
Well, so that's something that you're completely right. It is a big barrier to entry for our sport. So many other sports, you can do it in a pair of sneakers.
You need a pair of shoes.
You get a ball, you're all set.
And
you go out to the
you
field.
ride to the rink.
Yeah. Ice is not cheap.
Yeah.
The equipment, as you said, but with that said, we have so many great folks that will bring lightly used gear back to the rink that we can then repurpose and give out to kids that need it, or they grew out of their shin pads mid-season, they had a growth spurt. Hey, here's a pair for you. You're all set. Don't worry about buying any. So, and then we've got the Shots Tots program now, which has kind of come in for little howlers, where you can you get gear with your
all the stuff,
everything
for a fee.
you need. Yep, everything you need, and for I believe. I don't want to misquote, 150, something like
very
that.
doable,
Very
very doable.
reasonable, 6 ice sessions. So that is a great way to at least get on the ice and see if you like it.
How often do they have those, Scott?
Well, they run in 6-week segments.
Okay.
So it's kind of a rolling program.
Okay.
And then those kids, if they qualify, they come join me in my initiation program, which we kind of run like a little hockey practice. If not, they go back into like the pre-hockey or the Learn to Skate to keep rolling. And then all the way up through, we'll pass them off to high school.
That's the evolution, the hockey evolution.
Yeah.
It's so great. And I would just encourage people that, we live here in a climate that tends to get a little bit warm for about 8 months straight, feels like.
And it's a great place to cool off.
And the ice rink is always not hot. You know, I mean, it's so refreshing to jump into the ice rink when it's 116 degrees outside and just, you know, work out in that environment. Do you ever anticipate the Den building a third rink? I know you get this a lot.
I do.
But they have that. I mean, there's so much land available right behind it. And I know that would be an enormous plot of land to buy. But do you see a third rink? Because they did put one up in Scottsdale.
They did, yeah, and it's full. It's full all the time. And I believe strongly that if there was a third sheet at our Chandler facility, it would be full. Whether we add teams to our CDP program, whether we more high school practices, you know, earlier adult league times, I think there'd be a lot of people that would be excited about that. So, you know, obviously everything comes down to funding and then, but you know, one thing I am fortunate is that our owner of the Ice Den facilities, Taylor Burke, is a phenomenal owner. And I'll just share a quick story. My son and I were in Chicago at a tournament, and we pull into the rink that we're playing at, and he looks at me and goes, "Dad, what is this place?" And I said, "What do you mean?" "It's a perfectly fine community ice rink, one that I'm very familiar with." I said, "Not everybody gets to play at a place like the Ice Den like you do, you know, every week." And then we're going out to Vegas to the City National, which is the brand new facility, and playing out west here like we do. We're up in Seattle last year at the Kraken facility. So this is what this kid knows. And I said, "Buddy, this is a great rink. Like, I loved it. The locker rooms were small.
The old barns.
Oh yeah. Low roof, you know, it's great."
My favorite sheet of ice maybe in the country is in Southeast Washington, D.C., Fort DuPont Ice Arena.
Okay.
It's in the hood. But the ice is so incredible. It's so hard all the time. And it's a crappy rundown inner city ice rink, but the ice is phenomenal. In fact, when I lived there, the Capitals would host all their alumni events there.
Oh, wow.
Because it had space to hold people, and to your point, like, you know, they're not all these big beautiful ice dens.
So I'm very lucky to be able to work in a facility like that, obviously, and they take such great care of the place. They keep the ice in great shape, and so
Okay, last question from me. It's not just a boys' sport. Let's talk about that. It's not just a boys' sport anymore. And, you know, we're seeing that with the Kachinas, and obviously we sat down with Lindsay Fry to talk a lot about it. Are you seeing record-breaking numbers in terms of girls coming in? There's
certainly more in my program than there were when I started. And I got out here in 2019, and I've been with the program since then. We have 2 Kachina program or teams in our CDP league. We have one at the 8U level and one at our 10U level, and we also have many girls co-ed mixed amongst our teams. And yes, I would say it has increased. I think Lindsay's done a phenomenal job of that, and you know, making it okay to go out and play, and whether that is co-ed or if it's with the Kachina program.
We had a phenomenal player. I'll call her out, Carly Turner, right here. She started in Scottsdale, played for us DYHA. She played in Division I. She went to, I believe, University of New Hampshire and played. So this is back then. So we've always had the Lindsay Fries, but then I know, and there were many others. That's Carly was one that I had experience with. But it's amazing to see that, and then that part of it, like Division I girls sport, what Lindsay was talking about, the level of hockey that they're playing is incredible.
No, I just think it's so dope that we finally have we've got a league that women can go play in, because for forever the final stop for women was maybe your national team. And that was about the highest hockey you could play.
College hockey, and then you can try to play on the national team.
And that's it.
And
right?
For
and
sure.
So you're talking about maybe 30 people get to make that team out of all the girls in the entire country. It's just not, it's obnoxious when you compare it to what men's opportunities are. And so that's why I wanted to bring that up. Scott, you are such you're a treat, man. I really love what you're doing at the Den. I think they're so freaking lucky to have you, and what you've been able to build there is truly that neighborhood hockey rink, man. So good on you. I know it's not been easy every single day, but man, as the outsider looking in, we see the effort and we appreciate it.
Thank you. That means a lot, Matty.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I miss having you as part of our program.
I know, I miss it too,
but
man.
I love seeing you at the rink and seeing the boys. So
Yeah.
it's and thank you guys for having me
Yes.
on today.
All right,
Yes,
more to come.
Great job. Thank you.
Bet.
Awesome.
All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk to a guy who I think he's either in the CIA or the FBI or something.
Or a baseball scout.
Oh, maybe he's just a baseball scout. Tom Thomas is going to be our guest from the board of directors next here on the Move the Needle podcast. We'll see you in a minute. We've got an incredible guest coming up next because I don't know anything about this dude because there's no trace of him online. I love that, Steve.
I know a little bit about him.
You do?
I do.
Share with me a little bit about what you know.
I know. Well, first of all, I sit on the board with him. So I know
Which
he's
board do you sit on?
on the YMCA
Oh, okay.
here with him. And so I know he's an amazing contributor to this community in
Okay.
that way. But I also know he's got an interesting life being a professional baseball scout. And he's got history with players, cool managers. I know Joe Torre, Tommy Lasorda stories. Maybe we could, if we got some time at the end, maybe we
Okay.
could chat up there.
Okay.
But overall, we're here to talk about the annual campaign giving, which Tom is really in charge of within our board. So he's going to share some numbers with the community, and we're getting charged up for an amazing year, as always, here at the Y, and the amazing things we do. And I know he's ready to share.
Now, listen, the Y's been a part of my family's life since we moved here to the Valley in 2010. It's the very first place that we came to when we moved into this community. And my boys, Gordy and Truman, grew up in that little kids' room right there. And we built incredible relationships. Britt was one of the women or the girls that was in the child care center. I went on to officiate her wedding.
Whoa.
You know, like we built really good friendships at this place, and I'm a member of the YMCA. My kids play basketball here. Like, this is our gym, and this has been our neighborhood spot for a long time. How long have you been sitting on the board?
You know what? I just over 1 year, just 1
Okay.
year. So I got on this board last year, and it's been fun. It's been fun. It's opened my eyes to a whole different world of the YMCA that I even knew existed.
Yeah, when you go in and when you guys are on the board, would you help us understand, maybe both of you, Tom and Steve, like, how did the YMCA start? What's the backstory there? Do you guys know?
So the YMCA is a national program. If you're talking about this Y, I know that not too long before that, they had a big drive, and they built this facility, a state-of-the-art facility, from a lot of the donors within this community. So if you're talking about this Ahwatukee Foothills family, it's a homegrown facility. In the facility itself, we're going to talk about the programs and the money involved, but the facility has been bought and paid for, and the land for a long time. But really, the programs and the outreach. We're going to talk about the Y Opus for the elderly in the community. You hear the swim lessons, the kids in the back. This is a big machine for the community, and it takes a lot to keep it going. So we're going to talk about how the community can get involved with their dough, with their time and treasure and talent, like a lot of the other people. But we every year we have a major annual campaign.
Jump into
giving.
it. Let's get right into it.
So Tom's here to talk about that. I want you to talk about the annual campaign and what tell us what it's all about.
You know, the annual campaign, I guess the best way to describe it is this. When you donate your money to the YMCA here in Ahwatukee Foothills, your money stays here, because these programs that are put together from the Y Opus, let's use that for an example. It's a program for seniors that has so many volunteers that go pick them up at their home, take them to the grocery store, get them involved, and get them out of their house. There's 250 members in that Y Opus program here in Arizona, in Ahwatukee. It's gotten so good that Sandra Franks has been able to branch that out to the other parts of the valley. And there's now 350 members that are in Scottsdale and Goodyear. So this is a program that started right here in our community, and now it's expanding throughout the rest of the valley. I think that's just great.
And then further beyond, is we learned here in the retreat, they're taking this YOPIS program, and it's a staple that they're going to be taking national. And so it's been so successful. Yeah, it's so successful on the local level. And then, like Tom said, expanding that. And they do, I mean, it's not only just, it is getting them around, because it's very difficult for the elderly to get around, but it's also a big part of their social status. There's a lot of loneliness that goes along with this. And this is, and Tom mentioned that, it's a big part of their social life here.
Well, it adds years to their lives. I'm telling you, it's got
For sure
to, because you know what it's like to sit around and, they talk about the older you are, if you're not using your brain, the quicker you get dementia or Alzheimer's.
Right,
and so this has just allowed people to do something. And I think it's super important.
So let's talk a little bit about what happens here. Let's talk about the guts of the YMCA. What kind of programs are here and accessible for a lot of folks? I mean, I think anybody that comes in here, you'll notice almost instantly, it feels like there's a classroom in the back of the Y all the time. Kids are running up and down the hall. Kids are out doing their swim lessons. What kind of programming takes place here?
Oh, you know what? They've got all the sports programs you could probably imagine, from basketball to volleyball, and both sides of the coin there. Men, women, girls, boys. The pickleball has become new. It's something new. Oh my God!
I come here every morning and they're
those
throwing down.
pickleballers. I'm trying to get them to get a pickleball league, so they'll pay money and to come in here and play. But the swimming pool is fabulous. It's heated. They have their own swim team. I don't know how many members use the gym in here, but there is quite a few, and it's one of the better programs I think that they have here. And then they've got 60 kids that come here every day after school.
Yeah, the after school, the child care is amazing here.
Yes, and 40% of it is comes through the donations that people make, and we pay scholarships for those kids to be here. They're not in wealthy families, and they get dropped off after school, and so those are the big things that I didn't realize how much the child programs and the YOPIS, they eat up. Last year I think the goal was to raise $165,000 here, and over 90,000 went towards memberships. Were given out to people to be members.
Wow.
and then
what's your goal this year with this new fundraiser?
Somebody got crazy here and decided they're going to try to get close to $200,000 here or something. So we'll see what happens. But you know what? That's Sandra Frank. She has worked here since the doors weren't even built, and she's the one that figures out what she thinks would be a good number. And we finally won the trophy this year in everybody's mind, because you get however much you earn over what you say you're going to get, and I can't remember. I think it was over $200,000 last year.
We did well, yes.
Really?
Yeah, we did well.
And so
and we'll get it this time. And we got some lofty goals.
When is this thing?
So
it starts
every
now.
Year. Yeah, it starts now. And really, when people are the audience in the community, and when they're listening to this podcast, it'll be perfect time for them to tune in and to contact either any of the board members, contact the Y directly, and donate, because the campaign will go through the first quarter of the year. So and that's kind of when we'll announce that we'll be probably the winner.
Do you all have
again.
a gala or a fundraising night specifically that you do, or is it just really kind of this open-ended quarter of giving?
We get the last year we had a phone drive, especially going back after a lot of the members that have donated before, and reminding them that, hey, it's time to re-up, and getting businesses within the community to be in the President's Club, meaning, hey, can you donate $1,000, $1,500, a meaningful amount of money. Inside the gym, there's probably 25, 30, 40 banners of
all these bricks out here are labeled with people's names.
And so there's, just every year you try to get more creative, and how can we make money? How can we get people to donate their, it's a 501(c), so it's tax deductible, and it means a lot. These programs cost money. And getting people to and from places costs money, and having people work here, there's salaries, and then there's hourlies, and so it's a beautiful facility. They're first-rate facility.
I tell
here.
people that have never been to a YMCA, but I remember the first time I walked into this Y, and I was like, oh my God, this is better than the gym that I was working out with in my other location.
And most of them, yeah, it is.
It's an incredible facility here, and I'm not understating that. The gym is beautiful. The changing rooms are nice. They've got a great workout room. This outdoor space that they have out here now that they've converted to an extra workout area, minus July, is a perfect time to come out here and get a workout on. But it's awesome what they've done inside.
And it's not as competitive.
Yeah.
When I say that, in the sports world now, we've got into travel this, travel that. I'm on an elite team here, I'm on an elite team there. And you have some egos, I'm sure, that are still inside the gym that bring some of their more, they do have a competitive league. But you still have some of that grassroots sports that kids just come
It's the neighborhood
and they
pickup
sign
game.
up.
This is where they a lot of them get it. You get a chances where they're introduced to soccer, to baseball, the girls to volleyball, boys volleyball. It's a great introduction.
And it doesn't cost your family a fortune because you don't have to go to Utah for 4 nights and play in a soccer tournament, or go over to California and play in a baseball tournament.
You know a thing about this traveling.
Oh my God, the
don't
travel
you?
ball world has changed a lot of sports.
How did you get into the baseball scene?
How did I get into the baseball scene? So I played baseball at Cal State Fullerton. We won the national championship in 1984. I got drafted by the Minnesota Twins in the 17th round as a senior. So I got my little chance to play. Well, I stuck around for 4 years.
Now, what year were you with the Twins?
I was with the Minnesota Twins organization in 84, 5, and 6.
It's two pro
So it was
players.
A good few years for Minnesota.
Oh my God!
Puckett.
Kirby Puckett was in my way. I was never going to move him out, and then I got traded to the Dodgers in 1987 in spring training. That was my introduction to the Dodgers, which at the time you never know how roads and connections lead you to where you're going. But the general manager of the Vero Beach Dodgers, after I retired in 87 to go coach college, I went coach college for 4 years. Well, the general manager, who was the general manager for the Vero Beach Dodgers, was now the scouting director for the LA Dodgers. So when I left my second college job at Loyola Marymount, I applied, and I ended up getting a job with the Dodgers because I knew him. And it was it's who you know sometimes. And
most of the time,
And then went on to work for them for just over 20 years.
The Dodgers organization.
Through 2011. And then I've been working
In
with
what capacity?
Oakland
From
since then.
scouting?
Scouting.
Yeah. God, what a fun job. Now I know why you're like, there's nothing on the internet about him, because you don't want to know that guy's in the stands. Right?
Yeah,
'Cause
I don't
people act different.
billboard. I don't wear this.
People act different.
Incognito.
What does it take in today's baseball era to make it to the big leagues? What are those points of differentiation? Because it's this big.
A lot of it is still being able to apply your skill set to the game. And so, we have 5 tools in baseball. Basically, you hit, arm, run, field, and power. Those are the things we grade players out on. How does that apply to the game? Each position has a little bit different skill set. Your catcher doesn't have to hit much if he can catch it. That's what you want him to do, is be able to catch and throw. Your center fielders are more of a defensive-oriented position. The shortstop, a lot of them hit ninth for a reason, but they can really save you a lot of runs on defense. You start getting into the corners, those are your boppers. Your third basemen and first basemen and right fielders.
What do you mean
and left
boppers?
fielders. Those guys are going to hit, and they're going to hit with power.
Sounds like you're pounded over the fence a little bit. Yeah.
25, 30 home runs a year, driving 100 runs. And
Is there anybody that you were scouting, and the moment you saw them, it was like, oh, this is a no-brainer?
You know what? Paul Konerko was a high school kid out of Chaparral back in 1994, and he just had a special bat for a young kid. That was one. I played against Barry Bonds, and that was the best player I've ever played against. He was special.
Yeah.
He hit some bombs.
Yeah.
I mean,
Lots of power.
Roger Clemens was at Texas, and when you played against him too, and so, but it was, and I didn't have any idea to ever be a scout until after 4 years as a minor leaguer and 4 years as a college coach. So back then I did, but having those people in your bank and inside of your reserve and your gut, that's my library, and then scouting for 20 years with the Dodgers, most of it was done on the amateur side. Now I scout other teams' organizations with Oakland. So not Oakland anymore, excuse me. We are the Athletics.
You are the Athletics.
Correct.
That's right. I know it's going to take everybody a minute.
Yeah, so I'm going to bring this back full circle to the why. Obviously, Tom has got an eye for talent for scouting and seeing good talent out there and prospects. Tell us, but besides the why needing money, we always need in the community good new board of directors, people in there. Tell us about that. Who that eye for talent? What type of people are we looking for to maybe come on the board or get involved in the why?
It would be great to get some more professional people in our community that, whether they're a business owner themselves or they are in professional organizations, in management roles, those people are invaluable because they can help tap into some other resources that a professional baseball scout doesn't have.
Yeah.
Podcast directors don't have or whatever.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think that quality human beings, good families, I think it's invaluable.
Yeah, and is it pretty important that they live in this area and they get to experience and have touch points with this place, or is that maybe not as important as it once used to be?
I don't think everybody on the board lives in town here.
Yeah,
but,
okay, fair enough.
But they have some kind of connection to it. And or they're connected. Like I think we just got a new board member, and she lives in Mesa, but she's part of the Kyrene School District, which we have a huge.
It's the whole game down here.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, Kyrene.
So that person brings a whole different perspective for our board that I don't think we've ever had before.
So the YMCA here, the local, always looking for volunteers, coaches. Of course, we talked about sports coaches, potential board members, but just get involved in the community. Come down here, like you told your story, Mathew. I've got a similar story. I'm not going to, because it almost sounds like I'd have to regurgitate it. We were just 1 year off. We moved here 2009, did the same thing. I coached
Kids
here,
in the center.
volleyball.
Yeah, right,
I was the volleyball coach. I love this place. And so I've been a part of that part of it, the board. And again, we're always looking for new people in the community to come on in.
Awesome. Tom, thank you so much for coming on this podcast today. I wish you guys nothing but success with this drive that's coming up. What is the easiest way for people to get involved?
Mm-hmm. Call the YMCA or go online and ymca.org and you can donate right there, and you can direct it to whatever branch you want. But if you're in this community, it'd be great to
This is going to this community. So it's the Ahwatukee Foothills Family YMCA. There's a general, and then it'll ask for the location. So we represent this one, and obviously the majority of our audience will be here in Ahwatukee and South Tempe. And so yes, we want to drive traffic to here.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and let's be honest. Like this is a community-centric podcast. It's also a community-centric building and facility here.
It is.
And we have to take care of our community because if we don't, we've seen what can happen in other communities where maybe they don't care about their communities as much.
We have a lot of people who care from, I know Sandra's name was mentioned, Kristen Spakeen, who's been the president for the last couple of years, very involved and care about the community. So we've got people, it's in good hands.
It's in good hands.
It's in good hands.
All right, awesome. Tom, thank you again for coming on, man.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Tom.
Appreciate
Thanks
that.
for having me.
Steve,
thanks for the
heck of a show, man. We started with some dogs.
We started with some dogs.
We ended with some dogs.
We had two professional players, professional hockey, professional baseball player. That's a first.
It is a first. You're absolutely right about that.
Yeah. So, actually, quick mention: Keystone Montessori, one of our
right across the street.
Right across the street. We could
just getting ready to give a shout out to them and Amy Richardson at the Savvy Realty Group and Bella Set Lingerie. And a quick reminder that next week we're going to be doing our show from the Rock Lobster, which is in Chandler.
It is.
We've got
Downtown
Karen
Ocotillo.
Nowicki on, and we've got the CEO of State 48.
Yes.
Mike's a good dude, and he's been doing a lot of great work with those tees. You guys got to get the official YMCA State 48 shirt.
Maybe we should do that.
We'll work that out for you next week.
Yeah.
It'd be a great
Awesome.
way to fundraise.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. All right. See everybody next time.
See, we need you on the board.
Maybe I need to join the board.
Now he's right in the neighborhood too.
I'm right here.
Sign him up.
Long-time member. See, folks, you got to take advantage of the opportunities.
We got the right
you
guy.
get.
I told you we got the right guy. He's already got you in.
I love it. We'll see everybody next time
Thank
on our
you.
Move the Needle podcast.